Um, so my name's Troy James Odell. I'm representing myself today and my son. His name's Liam Allen James Odell. He turns 10 years old on May 29th of this year. Unfortunately, I can bank on not being there for his 10th birthday because of what I'm about to share with you today. On 12/27/2023, I was served unknowingly a restraining order granted by Judge Demke of Mojave County with my son on the restraining order while I had full custody of my son. When I went back and listened to this recording, I was shocked to discover that the judge even admitted that he legally couldn't do that because I had full custody and she had to go through the court custody battle thing. And she broke down and started crying and said, well, what do I do? And the judge said, she told the judge that I had been doing meth, which was a lie. And then the judge said, well, I'll do it this one time since he's doing meth, and granted it. That's what I discovered when I went back and listened to the recording. So carrying on.
I'm sorry, when you say you listened to the recording, it was the recording of the court proceeding or what?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead.
So I challenged the restraining order on January 10th of 2023. The judge upheld the restraining order, but dismissed it to my son. But when I received the papers that day, the court orders still said in black and white that my son was to remain a protected person. So I went on to believe that I could not talk to or see my son. And while I went on to believe that, on January 17th of 2023, I was served an emergency custody order. That forced me to, from my position that I was in, I was already homeless when I got that order because of the restraining order kicking me out of my house. So I had to take out a $5,000 loan to hire an attorney. When I hired an attorney, he advised me to take a hair follicle test, which I did immediately. When the court received the hair follicle test, nothing happened. Even though she swore under oath that was the truth, I guess the oath doesn't mean anything anymore.
So I presume the hair follicle test came back negative for drug use.
Yes, sir.
And the court accepted the report but took no action.
They acknowledged that the results were negative across the board.
Okay.
But yet they didn't dismiss the case or make any other acknowledgments of it. They just acknowledged it. That was it. So even though I've already proven within 2 weeks of this transpiring that she's lied, it still goes on. DCS gets a hold of me and they say, well, I get a letter in the mail from DCS saying that based on their investigation, there's no substantial evidence of any neglect or abuse, so the case was thrown out by them. So me and my lawyer at the case management on 2/14/24, we were going over the hair follicle results with the judge, and we were going over the fact that DCS blatantly stated that there was no neglect or abuse found through their investigation, and they threw out their case. Even though that was brought to the judge's attention, she still set another hearing and so on and so forth, dragging this out.
I'm sorry, when you said you've changed judges?
So the restraining order was a guy, Demke, and the person with the emergency custody orders was Judge Megan McCoy.
Also Mojave County?
Yes, sir.
All right.
So I managed to get a lawyer, get my own apartment. I had to get a new job because of rumors that were spread around town about me being on meth, and my boss believed it. So I got a new job. I actually started my own business, which I still have to this day.
So just a minute. Did you have access to the report to show your old boss this is fallacious?
I did, but he wanted me to take another drug test, and it just, there was no point in me taking another drug test if I've already taken a hair follicle. Hair follicles go back 90 days, and...
So instead you saw it as an opportunity for change.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
Good
if
on
they're
you,
not
man.
going to accept me, you know, if they're going to let me go, I started there in 2020. This is in 2024.
Yeah.
4
Okay.
years of being a great employee, outstanding employee.
All right.
And they just let me go like that.
What's your new business?
Johnson Services and Repair. I do air conditioning and refrigeration and automobile
Okay.
repairs and stuff like that.
All right.
So the judge ended up spanning it out, and she set a trial for 2.5 hours, according to the court minute entries, on 6/24 of 24. In the meantime, my lawyer told me on the phone that the judge is a bitch and he will not go to trial. So there went $5,000 out the window. I fired him because he's told me that, and I recorded it too.
Okay, hold on. You hired the attorney. The attorney says, I'm not going to trial in front of this judge,
Correct.
and quits.
Correct.
Did you get your money back?
No,
I think you should probably speak to the bar.
I did. They said they wished that there was more that they could do, and they gave him like a slap on the wrist.
Okay.
Yeah.
Keep going.
So I ended up litigating this case by myself with no prior experience as an attorney.
You got about a minute, man.
Okay, I'm going to skip to the trial. Several witnesses and I arrived at 9 o'clock at an empty hall. The trial was set for 9:30. As we anxiously awaited the court proceedings, my grandma and her niece show up, along with the best interest attorney, Shannon Glau, who I've never met in person. I actually thought that she was her attorney because she sat with her the entire time in the hallway and was coaching her on what to do. When the court doors opened, the people inside rushed out. One woman looked me dead in the eyes, and she said, "Good luck, that judge is a bitch." I smiled politely at her and walked into the courtroom like I owned the place, looking sharp in a Hawaiian dress shirt, almost as if I was a CIA agent doing a drug bust in Cuba. Shannon Glau, the best interest attorney, sat with my grandma to the right. At this point, I'm nervous, thinking she had gotten a lawyer to come to find out, she's the BIA. Finally introduced herself minutes before the judge walked out at 10:27. I quickly made the judge aware that it was making me uncomfortable that Miss Glau was sitting so close to my grandma as if she was representing her. That was not really a concern, and the trial proceeded. It doesn't say when my grandma was sworn in, but by my best memory, I can testify she verbally spoke for less than 5 minutes. She got one paragraph out, 2 would be pushing it, and that was her entire case, aside her one witness, which was her niece. In cross-examination, I asked her niece if she ever told her 13-year-old daughter if she would buy her drugs for beating her then 8-year-old daughter up while screaming this at the top of her lungs, and she said no, under oath, in cross-examination in this trial. Then, when it was my turn, I played a recording of said niece saying just that, screaming that loud and clear at the top of her lungs at her 8-year-old, telling her 13-year-old daughter if she beats up her 8-year-old daughter, she'll buy her a pre-rolled marijuana joint. So now, her only witness she called to testify against me has purged herself in front of the judge.
Okay.
Then I had asked my grandma point blank if she ever witnessed me for a period of time since my child was born being strung out on drugs or alcohol, and her answer was no. There was never a time when she witnessed me strung out on drugs or alcohol, but because I worked so much, I shouldn't have my child.
Okay, Troy, we're going to have to wrap it up, man. What's the name of the attorney that fired you as a client?
The one that I fired?
Well, they fired you. You paid him $5,000 and
Right.
you said, I'm not going into court. They fired you.
His name's Keith Knuckle.
Okay. All right, members, any questions for Mr. Odell? All right. I wish we had more time, but thank you for your story.
Yeah,
Okay.
thanks, Chairman.